Well, hello again, everybody. Welcome into the Shelby County High School football pregame show, a playoff edition as we kick off the postseason here with some exciting matchups tonight. We've got 7 games scheduled for tonight, some big ones at that. Expect some really tight contests here tonight as we get the postseason going. And behind me here, the Leeds Green Wave just taking the field along with the Briarwood Lions. A big one here between Briarwood and Leeds, a rematch from earlier in the season to kick off the 5A playoffs between these two squads. You've got Tyler Rayleigh out at Thompson High School, Andrew Simonson just down the road from me here on the 280-119 area at Spain Park High School. Those are just 3 of the 7 games we've got taking place tonight to get the postseason underway. But last night, Andrew, we had 2 games that you had your eye on with the Vincent Yellow Jackets opening the postseason in a dominant effort. A game that I kind of went back and forth on this week and ultimately picked against Vincent. Well, they proved me wrong very easily in that game last night with that defense stepping up. And Cornerstone Coosa Valley in a thriller that went down to the wire. Before we jump ahead and talk about tonight's games and the action ahead, give us a quick rundown of how we opened the 2025 postseason.
Well, we opened it with a bang. I was over at Vincent last night for a big performance from the Jackets. They started off on a hot stretch on offense, 3 rushing touchdowns in the first half from Jaden Roberts, as well as a rushing touchdown from Lane Mims. That came off of a near pick 6 from Calvin Johnson. That was one of 6 interceptions from the Vincent defense over the course of the game. The Vincent offense kind of stalled out over the course of the game as Falkville made some really good adjustments on defense that they weren't quite able to scheme up for. But the defense just continued to deliver drive after drive and got a ton of turnovers in something that Coach Weatherford said afterwards was a bit of a weakness for the team this season. They were giving up some big plays through the air. Well, they did none of that throughout last night. They succeeded in jumping a multitude of different routes, and they just looked very good, very dominant. 5 different defenders getting interceptions in that one. So a big shout out to Vincent for getting that 34-6 win over a fellow 8-2 team in Falkville. Yeah. And then Cornerstone Coosa Valley was exactly as we expected. An absolute shootout between 2 really, really good offenses. Cornerstone's defense still kind of a step below where they were last year. We'll see how that goes next week as they go into Escambia for a rematch against them, because they came out on the positive end of a 44-38 game. Coosa Valley got 3 second-half touchdowns to be able to keep this one a little bit close. Unfortunately, the last one came with just 53 seconds left, so they weren't able to equalize in that one. But still, a phenomenal effort from Reese Donahue and this team to go 5-6 on the season, finish with a really good record, and get some very good senior leadership and big plays from that team as well. But this Cornerstone team, this rushing attack just continues to be as good as advertised, and they'll be dangerous just once again as well.
Yeah, great way for both of those teams, the winners there, to start the postseason. I guess for Cornerstone, their second game of the playoffs. But that Vincent team, it was their first? Okay.
It was their first, yes.
That Vincent team, the way that they played in that matchup, that's a team, if they continue to play like that moving forward, a tough matchup coming up next week, but if they play like that moving forward, this is a Vincent team that can really make a nice little run here in the Class 2A playoffs. Never past round 2. We'll see if they can make some history next week in the second round of the 2A playoffs. Cornerstone obviously advancing as well. They've got some tough matchups if they want to win another 8-man state championship there in the AISA as well. Going to be a tough trek ahead for the Chargers, but some good opportunities as well as that team continues to roll. Well, guys, we turn to tonight, and I know we're all hanging on by a thread right now. Busy week of deadlines and different things going on work-wise, battling some sickness, but it's playoff season. We're out here. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be an exciting night as we get things underway here for several of our teams. And in my predictions, at least, I talked about a lot of one-possession games this week. I think that several of our games, could be decided by one possession this week. You look at Pelham and Helena in particular, with Hueytown and Bessemer City on the opposite side of those games. Going to be a challenging and fun game to watch between those two teams. And beyond that, we've got some great opportunities tonight. Thompson, Spain Park, and beyond, Shelby County as well. But let's start down in the ACSC, the Evangel Lightning, as they continue to roll along. State championship night tonight as they take on East Central. This is an Evangel team that's rolling right now. 50-22 win over Lighthouse in the semifinals. They won this matchup a couple of weeks ago against East Central, 38-6. that defense played outstanding in that game. They've been playing outstanding down the stretch. So, Andrew, when you look at this one, it feels like really a mere formality that they're going to come out and take care of business and win another ACSC state championship.
Absolutely. Evangel has been head and shoulders above the rest of the conference this year, and it's been an absolutely phenomenal ride to see this team come from where they were to start the year, struggling against a nationally difficult schedule, to where they are now, which is absolutely dominating and rolling over teams throughout the entirety of conference play. So I'm really looking forward to a big result here from the Lightning as well. And then the challenges resume. They'll have 2 games in 48 hours next week as they go down to Nationals in Panama City Beach. And they weren't there last year. And last time they were there, they were national champions. So a little bit of defending national champions going into that matchup as well. We'll have to see how they approach this game, make sure they take care of business for the ACSC title, and then it's all on to Florida from there.
Tyler, what about your thoughts? I have written down here, really as one of my only notes, in addition to how they've performed the last couple of weeks, Evangel easy. What are your thoughts? Do you feel the same way? You feel like Evangel rolls to an easy win in the state championship tonight?
I think I do. Like I said on the football show earlier this week, it was for East Central. It was a big upset to go on the road or beat Southern Christian last week in the semifinals. That was a huge upset for them. Despite that, though, I think Evangel still knows who they are. Like Andrew said, he took the words right out of my mouth. That beginning part of the schedule really challenged them and has made them a better team because of it. And I think while East Central is going to make it a tougher game tonight, I think Evangel still rolls, and I think it's because of the way Eli Black plays on both sides of the ball and his athleticism.
Yeah, the team's just gotten better and better as the season's gone along, too. Playing their best football right now, should have an easy chance at another state championship, as Andrew said, then shifting that attention on to what lies ahead with the national tournament there as well. So we all expect Evangel to roll tonight to kick us off. Let's move into the AHSAA now, and we look at the Shelby County Wildcats first. Andrew, I think you got that echo coming through on your mic again, if you want to mute when you're not up. But Shelby County at Valley tonight, tough matchup. This is a Shelby County team that's playing some good football, though. Winners of 3 straight right now. Outscored those 3 by a combined 127 to 42. Unbelievable what we've seen from Shelby County at the end of the season. But this is a Valley team that's playing some great football. So, Andrew, I turn to you first. When you look at this matchup between Shelby County and Valley, what's the big difference maker that you see, and who walks away as the winner?
Well, we established earlier this week these two teams are very similar on paper, both scoring 29 points per game on offense and about the same, just giving up 3 touchdowns a game on defense. But I think it's the offensive momentum from the Shelby County team that's going to decide this one. Yes, it's going to be on the road, and yes, it's going to be a difficult matchup against a Valley team that has played some really tough competition very closely. But I think ever since that St. Clair County game, this team has kind of flipped the switch. They were able to play Demopolis very close in their lone close game of the season. And then from there, they had an easier stretch of the schedule that they were able to take advantage of, beating Montevallo, Selma, and East Limestone pretty handily. I think this team knows who they want to be right now, and I think that they know how they want to approach this game. I expect them to come into this game with a really good game plan, and their offense is just absolutely clicking on all cylinders right now. I expect them to take advantage of that and be able to eke out a win here. I think they get a couple of successful drives late, and they're able to handle this one. But the big key that I do want to note is that Valley has played 10-point or closer games in 6 of their 9 games this season. That's a really good testament to what this team has been able to do within their schedule, a challenging one at that, facing teams like Central Clay, Russell County, Glenwood, and Elmore County. But that's the biggest difference between these two teams. Is Shelby County has either won big or lost big. Valley has been right in it for basically the entire stretch.
Yeah, and winning a close game, that could be a difference maker there in the second half tonight. When I look at this one, the only thing that really stuck out, they're both scoring about 29 points per game. They're both giving up about 23 points per game. But you look at the matchup like opponents against Holtville, Shelby County loses 35-13 in week 2. Valley just beat Holtville 46-14, so completely flipped those outcomes around. Now, I don't know if there was injuries or something that made a difference there in those matchups, which that could be a factor as well. But to me, I don't know if that's that's really the only difference that you can see when you look at these two teams. But it, to me, shows that you've got a Valley team that might be the better team in this matchup or have the upper hand. So, Tyler, what do you see when you look at this matchup? Is it one that you think is going to be a tight battle, goes down to the wire, or is it one where one team's better than the other in this matchup?
Well, the thing that really scares me in this game is the fact that Shelby County has lost 4 out of their 5 road games this season. I said earlier in the week that, while Shelby County has played better football these last 3 games, albeit against Montevallo, Selma, and East Limestone, 3 teams that are just they didn't make the postseason and they weren't great. What really worries me is Shelby County's ability to go on the road and play tough, because this Valley team defense has really shown to be a problem for their opponents this year. And I think although Shelby County had a magnificent rushing game in that East Limestone outing, it's going to be difficult to go on the road and replicate that. I think home field advantage really does Valley a favor in this game, especially considering the struggles that Shelby County had in that 4-game road stretch. So we'll see how it goes tonight, but I do think Valley pulls out the win by probably about 2 possessions.
Yeah, it depends. Go ahead.
I do want to chime in, though, because I know you obviously talked about that Holtville game is a little bit of a deciding factor within your pick. I think that this Shelby County team has grown tremendously since that game. I saw them the week afterwards against Sipsey Valley when I was really trying to figure out what was going on with this team. A really close game against Lincoln that they barely scraped out there, and then they ended up losing in handily fashion to that Holtville team. But I think this team, whether it's getting guys back healthy or just finding a rhythm on the offensive side, I think that this team has definitely grown since that Week 2 showdown, and they've become a better, more complete team before our very eyes throughout the season. Yes, they haven't exactly played their best football against some of the top-ranked competitions that they've faced. I look specifically at those North Side and those St. Clair County games, 2 very, very high-level teams, albeit, but 2 teams that they're going to be facing down the stretch and as soon as next week if they get past Valley. But I do believe that Shelby County, whether they win or lose this matchup, I don't think they should be judged on their early season performances, and I think that they have a good chance in this one going forward.
Yeah, I think it boils down to Shelby County's defense, too. I think if they continue to play like they have over the last 3 games, we're going to see a successful night for them. But it's going to be a tough matchup tonight. I think Valley's a slightly better team in this game. But if Shelby County comes out, plays well defensively, this is a team that's played some of the easier games at the end of the season, had a bye week in there as well. They should be refreshed and healthy and ready to roll in this playoff matchup, and nothing to lose at this point. It's season on the line. Go out and give it your all. The Wildcats, I think, will have their opportunities to make this a close game. Whether they do or not depends on the defense early in this football game, establishing a physical mentality and being able to keep that game close at the halftime break to then possibly have a chance there in the second half. I think Valley walks away with the win, like Tyler, home field advantage. Shelby County struggling on the road a little bit, but that Shelby County defense could make that interesting and give them a chance to win that matchup at the end of the night. Well, let's shift on to the game right here at Lions Pride Stadium. Briarwood hosting Leeds, a rematch from a game earlier in the season decided by 1 point, 29-28. Briarwood had plenty of chances to win that game. They could not do it. Leeds took advantage. They capitalized. They did win that football game by 1 point. And now we go into this matchup tonight between these 2 teams. Briarwood hoping for a little bit of redemption, being able to close things out, advance into playoffs. Leeds, though, looking like a team that's hoping to show some improvement from that first game in this matchup, that's going to come out, start fast, and finish strong and be able to walk away with the win. Both have been dealing with their share of injuries, too, and that could play a factor. So, Tyler, let's turn to you first in this one. These are 2 programs you've seen this year. What are your thoughts on this matchup between Briarwood and Leeds tonight?
The jury's out on Briarwood right now. I'm just going to be blatant with you guys. Last week I went and saw this Briarwood team take the road and finish off their regular season against McAdory, and they looked completely outmatched. They looked very stagnant, and they didn't look like they knew what they were exactly doing out there. They were very confused, and the injuries have really hurt them. They didn't get enough defensive penetration, and I know I'm being very negative on that right now, but that's because that led into what is happening tonight. And sure, Leeds has had their fair share of injuries But if you're Briarwood, you've got to be very concerned about what happened last week. I think this is going to be a very even matchup. I think it's going to be another shootout. But I think Leeds is a little more complete. They've shown a little more potential. They had a bye week to get ready for this game. I just think it's going to be a little too much. I think, like I said, another tight one. But I think Jerry Hood is going to outsmart Matthew Forrester once again tonight. And they say it's hard to beat a team twice, but I think the Green Wave are going to do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, and you look at Leeds too. This is a team that's 2-4 down the stretch. Briarwood 3-3 down the stretch. So both have had their fair share of struggles in the second half of the season. They've also showed some promise in the second half of the season. Just been an up and down year for both squads, and that's what's so entertaining and interesting about this matchup. Is I really think anything could happen, and it could go either way with just one little play making all the difference in the world in a game like this that flips the momentum. And so that's what's going to be a lot of fun to watch in this one. Andrew, when you look at this matchup, what do you see? I mean, obviously, both of these defenses are physical. They've got some promise there. Offensively, Leeds scoring about 7 more points per game than Briarwood and been a little more consistent on that side of the ball compared to what Briarwood's done this year. So what do you see as the difference maker in this game as far as what's going to lead to the win tonight?
I think Leeds has performed well in their tests leading up to this, albeit they are coming off of a loss to Pelham going into their season-ending bye. But I think before that, they were able to prove themselves as worthy challengers within a very difficult region that they had, playing well against St. Clair County and against Moody as well, 2 teams that we believe are going to be contenders within Class 5A. But you look at Briarwood overall. They've kind of had a little bit of a lighter schedule going into that McAdory game, so I was really interested to see, even though I thought that McAdory was head and shoulders the better team going into that match, how they would fare against it. And just with the way that they responded, I don't think that instilled much confidence within me. I think the offense needs to find a way to get around this Leeds team and be able to get a good start. But I think the biggest factor within this game is going to be stopping the big plays from Leeds. Those are things that really hurt Briarwood within that first matchup that they played together. And I think if they're not careful, they could see themselves fall behind the 8 ball very quickly in this matchup, and that could decide things very quickly. So it's going to take consistent effort from both sides in order to get it done. It could happen, certainly. I think we've seen crazier things happen from both of these two teams. But I think Leeds right now just looking like a little bit more of a complete team, and like they're weathering their challenges just a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Leeds looks a little bit more complete. They've handled some of those challenges, like Andrew just said, a little bit better. But the other thing you got to look at, this Briarwood team, when they're motivated and hungry, we saw what they did against Ramsey with the preparation for that game. I wouldn't be surprised if this team was already putting in and instilling the game plan for Leeds last week, with that McAdory game meaning nothing. Didn't want to give too much away, maybe working on just the right things that they needed to. I don't take much stock in the game last week against McAdory, but what I do take stock in is that this offense has been inconsistent throughout the year, and that's what worries me tonight. Who's going to be the go-to guy offensively? Are they going to get the ball to Sam Canale in space and let him make some plays? Is this defense going to step up and force turnovers? Because that's when Briarwood plays at its best, is when they can force turnovers, block kicks, different things like that, and turn it into an ugly and sloppy game. That's what they're going to be hoping for tonight. It's going to have to start early in this football game to prevent the other team from building momentum, because if Leeds comes out with confidence, I think that at that point it becomes a longer night for the Briarwood Lions. But this is a game that I think could be very, very close, a lot of fun, just like it was in the regular season. I think Leeds may sneak out a close one in this matchup, but the only thing I hang my hat on there is that Briarwood is looking for that redemption, and redemption is a big, big key in football and sports in general. So we'll see what happens. And like Tyler said, tough to beat a team twice too, especially when you probably should have lost the first game in the matchup. Briarwood knows that. They know what they need to do to improve and close out a game tonight. So we'll see if that happens on the field here at Lions Pride Stadium. The Briarwood Lions and the Leeds Green Wave. Brought to you by 3D Air Services. You see all of our great sponsors down there. Wayne's Pest Control, Montebello Main Street, Oak Mountain Hearing as well. But 3D Air Services, Monday, a high in the mid-40s, lows in near the 20s. You're going to need to get the HVAC tuned up, get your heater serviced. You turn that heater on, you're going to smell some burning on Monday. Give 3D Air Services a call to come out and check everything, take good care of you throughout the winter months when it comes to your heater and getting everything tuned up. And then your air conditioner as we head back into the warmer months. early next year. Well, guys, let's transition into the game that Andrew is at. This is one of the bigger games tonight, and I think could be a very tight contest. Spain Park taking on McAdory right there, just down the road from me here at Briarwood. The Jaguars, one of the hottest teams in the state right now, guys, playing such good football in the regular season with a 45-17 win over Gardendale last week. And to be honest with you, a lot of that game, I don't think they feel like they played their best football, which is a scary thing to think about. But this is a team that scored 42 or more in 5 straight games. And meanwhile, the defense has given up 17 or less in 6 straight games and 21 or less in all but one game this season. Both sides of the ball playing so good right now. Tim Vakakis has this team rolling. They take on a very good McAdory team tonight, though, guys. Tyler, I start with you. Then we'll shift to Andrew, who's at this game. What are your thoughts on this matchup? You saw McAdory last week. We saw what they did against Helena earlier in the season. So what are your thoughts on this one tonight between Spain Park and McAdory?
I'm going to give you 3 names to look out for tonight. Their quarterback, Justin Patton. Their running back,
Hey, Andrew, we got something coming through there again. It's still there. Still there.
So what were some points of emphasis this week, Coach, as you prepared?
All right, there we go. All right, Tyler, go ahead.
So 3 names you need to look for tonight with McAdory. Their quarterback, Justin Patton, their running back, Kawan Johnson, and one of their wide receivers, Carter Fagan. All 3 guys played a big impact in last week's 6-13 win over Briarwood, and they can exploit a defense from all sides of the field. If Spain Park starts focusing too much on the outside with Carter Fagan, what's going to happen is it's going to expose the middle game with Kawan Johnson. He's going to burst right up the middle.
That impacted, even just from a scout team preparation for these types of games.
To go out and defeat Spain Park. I don't think it's a great draw for the Jags, but right now, what I see is a Jags team who, like you said, is afraid they didn't play their best football last week against Gardendale, and now it's time for them to go out and play some real ball. I think they get it done tonight with Rock Rattling, Rodrigo.
Defensively, what do you have to do tonight to slow down McAdory?
All right, so Andrew, I'm going to go to you after this. If you figured it out for a second, but it came back, and I struggled to hear Tyler hardly at all, and it's coming in as I talk too.
I think Tyler's dealing with some audio issues on his end as well.
Okay. Yeah, I know when you muted a second ago or fixed something, it went away. So let's see if we can figure that out. But when you talk, it seems to go away. So, Andrew, I'm going to turn to you. Spain Park McAdory, you're there in person. What do we have tonight there in that matchup?
You have 2 of the best offenses in Class 6A, full stop. These 2 teams know how to get the ball down the field and know how to create explosive plays. So they're going to ask a lot of these 2 defenses, which they're 2 pretty good defenses. We've seen McAdory within the past few weeks be able to get some pretty good performances against some quality opponents. But Spain Park has absolutely rolled through the last half of their schedule. It's been a really good matchup for this team to be able to look forward to these past couple of weeks when they're facing teams like Hilton County and Gardendale. They know going into this matchup what they need to expect. And I think they've been training for this matchup. I think they've been looking forward to facing a good offense like this and proving that those losses earlier on in the season weren't flukes and that they can were flukes and that they can be improved when compared to that. I think the Spain Park defense overall is going to have a phenomenal night, and I think that the momentum that they've had over the last few weeks is going to carry into this matchup. And it's going to be really close. I think it's going to be very high scoring. It could come down to who holds the ball last. But overall, I think Spain Park has just proven themselves to be one of the top teams in the state of Alabama right now when it comes to the offensive side of the ball with what they can do through the air and on the ground. And I'm going to ride them until they run out.
Yeah, I agree. I think Spain Park is the better team in this matchup.
Okay, Coach, good luck tonight.
And so... Sorry, there we go. All right. Yeah, I think Spain Park the better team in this matchup. The Jags 8-2 right now, averaging 38, giving up just 14.2 points per game. To me, that's what stands out, though. That defense has been so consistent this year. I think they come out, play a physical football game tonight, and that ultimately makes the difference here against McAdory. But this could be a very good game. I would not be shocked at all if there is an upset there when we look up at the end of the night. This is a McAdory team scoring 38 points per game, giving up just 19. They're playing really good on both sides of the football as well. Tough matchup for a first-round game. That's the struggle here. Feels like Spain Park should have a little bit easier of a matchup as good as they are this year. But that's how the cookie crumbles sometime. sometimes. But ultimately, at the end of the night, Spain Park, with the balance they have offensively right now, as healthy as they've been throughout the season and as consistent as they've been defensively, I like the Jags in that game. Brought to you by Wayne's Pest Control. Make sure you give Wayne's a call. As that cold weather comes in, those bugs and pests are going to be looking for their way inside to the warm heat. So make sure you give Wayne's Pest Control a call. Call 866-WAYNES1 or visit callwaynes.com to learn more about all the things that Wayne's Pest Control can offer. Let's shift on to the back-to-back games here I want to talk about that I think could be tight one-possession football games. The Pelham Panthers traveling to take on Hueytown tonight. The Helena Huskies traveling to take on Bessemer City tonight. It's fun to see this region. We just talked about Spain Park McAdory. It's fun to see these two regions match up. It's unfortunate it has to be in the first round because they're so talented in both of these regions. But these two games in particular, I think Hueytown and Bessemer City the better teams, but would not surprise me if we look at these two games and see Pelham or Helena or both win these matchups at the end of the night because of what we've seen inconsistency-wise from all of these teams, all four of these teams going into these matchups. But let's start with Pelham hitting the road to take on Hueytown. This is a Pelham team, guys, that's drastically improved this year. Been very impressed by what they've shown, especially on the defensive side of the football. What do we expect when we look at this matchup against a Hueytown team that's also played some good football this year, but they're sitting at 5-5. The big key is they went 5-1 in region play. Great region slate, but this is a team that has struggled and been inconsistent at times with a challenging schedule, albeit, but they've shown some ability to be susceptible to big plays, and they've had some struggles throughout the season. So, Tyler, let's turn to you first. What are your thoughts on this game when you look at Pelham and Hueytown? Do you see a path for the Panthers to pick up a win?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's because I think they're playing some of their best football in the month of October. I think you look at a guy like Marcus Arnold, who has made highlight catches all year, guys. Had 9 catches for 176 and a touchdown last week in that loss to Fort Payne. Man, he is making plays night in and night out, and it just feels like he's unstoppable. And for any defense, that is a challenge for a guy who's going to be a future star one day. That's going to be tough to stop. On the flip side of that, the defensive side, Benji Augsburger has really stepped up. These last couple weeks, he's forced some turnovers. He's made some key tackles. Guys, I think Benji Augsburger is a tight sleeper to watch to make a big impact tonight. I think they were both mentioned in our stars of the week. This week on the football show, I think it's a chance for Pelham to really capitalize. And to me, I think where Hueytown has struggled is in these games where they don't really know much about the opponent, as opposed to their region games. But here, Pelham falls in that category of a team that they don't know much, that Hueytown doesn't know much about. I think Pelham goes out there, wins a shootout. I think it's a very high-scoring game, but I also think there's some defensive touchdowns thrown in there, and that's why Pelham will win tonight.
When Andrew, when I look at this matchup, this is a team in Pelham that could be a lot different of a season. You look at some of the games they've lost 30-29 to Oak Mountain, 21-20 to Helena, 28-21 to Fort Payne, 22-14 to Pell City. This could be a team that is the number 2 seed out of this region, basically. They've been right there on the verge. They've been in just about every game so far this season. It's a Pelham team that can compete with a team like this. And I think that's the difference this year in this squad is they believe they can compete with just about everybody they face up with. And when you look across the field, you can't be intimidated in a matchup like this. Ultimately, Andrew, do you think that this team's going to have that confidence and belief going into this matchup and be able to utilize that to get them over the top and pick up a win in this matchup against Hueytown?
Last week's game against Fort Payne revealed to me a lot about what this team is made out of. I thought that going into that matchup, it was going to be a game against a region champion, a borderline top 10 team, that they kind of just pack it in, use that game as a little bit of preparation for this game against Hueytown that would be a little bit more winnable. And instead, they took the fight right to them all night long. They looked really good, especially with Dylan Smith coming back from a shoulder injury. We weren't entirely sure whether he was even going to play the rest of the season. He comes back in the Fort Payne game, goes for over 200 yards passing, complemented really well on the ground by Tristan Rutledge. And Marcus Arnold had an absolutely massive night on the offensive side. I think this offense is rolling in the absolute right direction it needs to, because the key here in this matchup is outpacing Hueytown on offense. They're scoring 32 points per game overall, but this is a team that I think has faced definitely some good competition, some tests that have made it into a really good team. It does Hueytown. Some of their losses this season, Hillcrest, Pinson Valley, Mountain Brook, and Clay Chalkville. So that's kind of why they're sitting there at 5-5. That's not to say that Pelham hasn't faced its own share of challenges as well, but I think that how the offense performed on the road last week at Fort Payne was a really good sign for me. And even you look back against the Leeds game as well, that team was able to get a lot done with some compromised weapons on their side, and still able to get that win against the Green Wave. So I know you don't always put too much stock in non-region play, but I think the last 2 weeks that we've seen this team show its true colors and its true identity, and it's just a really hard-nosed competitive team that's not going to take no for an answer, and it's not going to go down very easily at all. It could be a very close battle. I have it as that when they're facing them on the road, but I think that Pelham does just enough on the offensive side to get it done.
Well, and what stands out to me is you look back at the last couple of weeks against Leeds, against Fort Payne, it's a team that's been bonded together. They could have easily gone out against Leeds with the difficulties they were facing, starting a freshman quarterback, and just kind of melded in that one. And then last week, taking on a really good Fort Payne team, nothing on the line, same thing. And what that shows to me, that's all coaching. It's getting your team ready no matter who the opponent is, and that's going to be the case tonight. I think Pelham's going to put a real scare into Hueytown tonight because they're used to playing in tight games, because they have the belief this year, and because that defense has been so improved overall this season. That's what makes this a team that has a chance to win a playoff game this year. The offense, though, is what worries me a little bit. They've been very consistent this year. I think they're going to be right around the 21-point mark tonight, but this is a Hueytown team. As much as I talk about the improvements of Pelham's defense this year, it's a Hueytown team that scored 40 or more in 4 of the last 5 games down the stretch. Just not quite sure that Pelham is quite there yet to be able to actually get over the hump and make the plays in the second half to win this game. But if they do, it's because they've got a guy like Dylan Smith who's going to lay it all on the line, coming back from the injury, closing out his career there at Pelham. He's going to give it everything he has in a physical battle. That gives them a chance as well, but he's going to have to make some big-time plays and take advantage of those weapons that they've got across that Pelham offense. If they can do that in the second half, they're going to have a chance to win this football game, and they may actually do it, but I just don't think they have quite enough to get over the hump yet in a matchup like this against Hueytown. Check back with me next year and the year after that, though, because this is a Pelham program, especially with Ross Newton there, as long as he's there, that seems to be heading in a very, very good direction. And I know the buy-in from the school system to be competitive, and that's what we're seeing with the coaching staff they've built there at Pelham. I don't think this is going to be genie in a bottle. I think they're going to have success for years to come. Well, that takes us on to the rival of the Pelham Panthers. The Helena Huskies hit the road to take on Bessemer City in a 3-2 matchup. So it's odd enough that I think the 4-1 may actually have a better chance of the upset than the 3-2, but Helena's got a very good chance at the upset tonight too, taking on Bessemer City. This should be a very entertaining matchup in this game. 2 teams that have played some good football. Helena, as we've said down the stretch, has played its best football of the season to end the regular season. Right now, outscored their last 3 opponents 108-37. They've played good defense, number 1, and they've worn people down with that rushing attack. Dom Santiago has been outstanding. The defense has made the adjustments they need to in the second half. Playing good team football, this Helena team seems prepared and ready for a matchup like this against Bessemer City. Ultimately, guys, do we think the Huskies are going to pull off that playoff? Every year it seems to be the same situation in the first or second round. It's a team that's right on the verge, and they have that deficit in the first half. They almost come back in the second half. What do we see tonight? Tyler, I'll start with you in this matchup. Can the Helena Huskies continue to roll into the playoffs and pick up a win on the road at Bessemer City?
Trust me, guys, I like them to keep it close. I love them to keep it close. I think this is going to be a very tight game, and a game that's going to be extremely entertaining to watch. But what hurts me to say this is that Bessemer City has only given up, I believe, 20 or more points in one game this season, and that was in their loss to Hueytown. It hurts me to say that I think Bessemer City has the strength to be able to just stop this Helena momentum altogether. I think they're a very good team. I think Helena's a very good team. I think Helena will give them a run for their money. But ultimately, Bessemer City's defense will be the difference tonight because of their stout defense up front and their ability to stop the run. And ultimately, I love Dom Santiago, but Bessemer City's defense will stand him up at the line and be the force that he has to be challenged with.
Yeah, I agree. I'll talk a little bit more about my thoughts here in just a second. Before we go over to Andrew, Oak Mountain Hearing, proud sponsors of the Helena Huskies this year, all throughout the Shelby County High School football and pregame show. Make sure to give them a call, that New Pelham location, 205-728-1690 or oakmountainhearing.com. Set up that consultation to take care of all your hearing needs, hearing loss, tinnitus, whatever it may be. Oak Mountain Hearing is going to take care of you. 205-728-1690 or oakmountainhearing.com. So, Andrew, as I turn to you, I think Tyler hit the nail on the head here. The defense for Bessemer City has been so good this year, but Helena's defense also been good and has gotten better as the year goes along. What gives in this one is Helena going to have enough offensively to get over the hump here against Bessemer City?
I'm frankly not worried about Helena's offense. I think they're going to do enough, and they're going to control the ball a whole lot en route to getting some pretty good plays. I really like this team over the last few weeks, and I think they've got what it takes in both the run and the pass to give any team some problems. But I think the biggest key within this one is whether Helena will start fast on defense or not, because we've seen over the course of the last few weeks, even though the defense has played absolutely phenomenal football, and I will give them so many props for that, it's been a little bit inconsistent in the first half. We saw it against Pelham. We saw it against Calera. Heck, we even saw it a little bit against Tarrant as well as things went along. And so if they're able to lock in from the opening whistle and play arguably their first true complete football game on that side of the ball, I think they're going to have a lot of chances for success. Because you talked about this Bessemer City team overall, they're scoring just 20 points a game in their last 3 games against Northridge, McAdory, and Winona. 3 solid teams, a step up compared to some of the games that have boosted their point totals, like against Paul Bryant, Brookwood, Woodlawn, Centerpoint, those teams. And obviously only scoring 7 points against Hueytown as well. I think that really concerns me if I'm a Purple Tiger fan, because you don't know how this team is going to fare when it's matched up against a team that's faced more elite competition and is arguably a little bit of a step above. I think Helena is that right now. I think they've shown through the early part of the season. Yes, I don't exactly believe that you should go that hard for your non-region schedule, but I think that what they've done within that is by facing teams like Moody and like Oxford, they have gotten themselves to a point to where they were able to figure out their flaws very quickly with a young team, and they were able to start building for the future, a future that starts right now against the Bessemer City team that they're going to have to go on the road for. They're going to have to play some of their best football this season to contend with. But I've just got a sneaky feeling that Helena is going to prove itself to be the better team in that regard, a more battle-tested team and one with more of an offensive edge than Bessemer City, and I think both of those things are going to be difference makers.
So that's a Helena win prediction from Andrew tonight,
it's
right?
A Helena win.
Wow,
yes,
okay,
it is.
Okay, I like it. I like the confidence in the Huskies. They are playing their best football of the season. This is a team that has looked really, really good down the stretch. My big concern for Helena, they start slow, and against a good defense like this, can they do enough offensively in the second half to win the football game? That largely depends on what the defense has done in the first half. If they have got this at a 14-0, 14-7, 14-14 type game, then Helena can come out with Dom Santiago in the second half and have a strong chance. But Bessemer City, in games like Helena wants to play tonight, has been able to squeak them out. You look at Northridge, McAdory, Winona. I know Andrew mentioned a few of those games. 19-16, 21-14, 19-14. They've won all of those tight, low-scoring battles that they've had this year. The way their defense is playing right now, the way Helena likes to play football, this is going to be a tight, low-scoring football game with the way both of these defenses. I do think both offenses have their share of struggles, and that's what makes this a very interesting game and what gives Helena an opportunity. But the kryptonite every year is they start too slow in the first half. They got to prove me wrong tonight. That's what I got to see. Is I got to see a Helena team that's hungry right out of the gate offensively and comes out and pushes this team around. If they can do that in the first half, and I'm looking at Twitter and I see updates where Helena's got a 0-0 game going or they're up 7-0, then I'm going to feel a lot more confident that Helena's going to pull out a win. But right now, that slow start offensively is what I worry about the most for the Huskies in this game. But regardless, both of these offenses can struggle. Both defenses really good. I think we've got a thrilling matchup of the games we've got there between Pelham and Hueytown and Helena Bessemer City. Boy, those could be a whole lot of fun. Let's transition to the big 7A game now. The Thompson Warriors taking on Carver Montgomery. Going to be a fun one. I'm going to quickly turn it over to Andrew to give us the first thoughts on this game, a rematch of a game earlier in the year that Thompson was able to pick up a 37-6 win in. Tough to see this defense not having a great night tonight here in this Thompson-Carver game.
Well, you say that, though, and they haven't exactly played their best football down the stretch. You look at a game like Hoover and against Prattville as well, facing two really, really good offenses. This team kind of struggled a little bit, and Carver, they do have a little bit of an offensive edge. They've looked very strong since that opening loss to Thompson, 31 points per game, and putting up some really impressive numbers against teams like Dothan, Enterprise, and Central Phoenix City. But at the same time, though, it hasn't been a team that's been able to get over the hump against those top teams within Region 3. That's why they're sitting here at the number 4 seed going to Thompson in this matchup. So I do think that Thompson, their biggest key in this matchup is going to be whether the defense comes out and plays good aggressive football early on, gets those stops, avoids a little bit of a slow start like we saw in their first matchup earlier on in the season. And if they're able to do that, I think they're going to have a strong night overall. I think this offense continues to play really strong football. There's going to be an opportunity for them where they're able to dominate through the air and won't necessarily need as much of the run game. So I think that everything is setting up for a good Thompson victory overall. But obviously, if things don't start to not go to plan, I'm curious to see what happens and how this team responds in a playoff setting.
Well, Tyler, what are your thoughts on this one? This is a Thompson team that's played really well. It's a Carver team that's played well, but they've 5-4 now, lost 3 games in a row. I look at this and the team Carver against their toughest opponents this year gave up 58 to Central Phoenix City, gave up 41 to Auburn, obviously struggled against Thompson, giving up 37. And in those same 3 games, they scored 6 against Thompson the first time around, 7 against Auburn, and 14 against Opelika. Those last 2 in the last 2 games of the season, 7 against Auburn, 14 against Opelika. Is this a team in Thompson or in Carver that can find a way to score some points in this football game tonight?
I think Zion Crumpton, their quarterback, is dangerous, guys. I think he's very reliable to both this Thompson defense as slow as of the start they've had. And right now, the vibe you get around this place in Warrior Stadium right now is that this Thompson team is taking what has happened the last few weeks personally. They are ready, and they have been hyped up all throughout warm-ups tonight. I think where they're at right now is they know what a new level looks like. When they turn it up in the playoffs, man, it is real. And we've seen that in the last few years. I think the quest for another state title starts tonight. I think this offense comes out on fire. I think this defense has taken everything personally. And this may be the fastest start we've seen in a while from Thompson's defense. I like Carver to keep it a little bit closer, but I think Thompson comes out and wins the big one here in the first round at home.
Yeah, I look at this matchup, and it's a Thompson team that you look at Josh Pate and his show talks a lot about South Carolina in Cocktober, where we're in, I guess, Warvember, Warrior Remember, whatever you want to call it. This is Thompson's time of year. It's almost like they save things up for this time of year all year. I have a feeling, just a sneaky suspicion, you're going to see Thompson come out and actually run the football well tonight, something they have not been able to do this year. Kind of like Alabama's offense at the collegiate level, just can't run the football. They haven't been successful with it this season other than a couple of instances. I think that's the big thing. I think Thompson's going to come out and look as balanced as they have all year, but defensively just too good. I think that's the difference maker in this one. Their defense is really good. This is a Carver team that struggled against the top teams, the elite teams they've played all year. I think that continues in this one as well. I think Thompson rolls to a very easy win in this matchup. We're going to the national anthem here at Briarwood. Guys, enjoy your night. Great show as always. Playoff nights here, playoff seasons here. It's going to be a fun one. Follow along all night long as we give you updates on Twitter, on Facebook, and all across the board with video story and photos. That's going to do it. Enjoy your football Friday night.